Well, good afternoon. I'd like to thank you all for being here today. My name is Chris Conrad, and I am, as Sam would say, the consort of Kate Martin. And it's a position I'm very, very proud of, and a title that I claim with much love and affection. As you all know, we lost Sam last September. We're here to celebrate her life today. We're going to do it through some oral presentations from some people here that knew her well. We've also have some items that have been sent in from people who could not be here today, and we'll be trading off who will be reading those. We got a few of those. Sam was one of the most outspoken people I know, and she was never afraid just to share her opinion. And I expect the same from each of you. I'll be sitting in the chair right over here. No, seriously. Sin and Kate are going to make some presentations, and I'm going to come up and make a short one too. But if you've got something you'd like to say, stop down over here. I'll be sitting off to the side, out of the way of the cameras, so they won't know who's coming up until, the live feed won't know who's coming up until you actually get up here. So you get to surprise everybody that way. Take your name and we'll put them down in order. We've got, I know we've got at least 4 that have come in from across the world that that wanted to make their opinions and thoughts known today. I'm looking at the list of people she knew. It's her impact was so far from this little conclave where Kate and I first knew her here on the Lower East Side of Milwaukee. It's true. The life she has touched has been international, and I think we need to acknowledge that. But anyway, Cynthia, please, I would like you to start with what you have written.
Come on down?
Yeah, come on down. Come on, you're the next contestant. I hope the microphone is carrying the room well enough. I am an audio professional, so I don't go like this and make those crunchy noises with this thing. But anyway, Cynthia, if you want to step over, and again, if you'd like to speak, stop by. I'll take your name down. We'll get it down in order.
Nope, didn't even make it up here. Only she could get me up here in front of so many people. I am going to make the crunchy noise. Thank you all for being here in celebration of Sam's life. My name is Sid, and I likely know you in one of 3 ways. We spent our formative 20s with Sam here in Milwaukee. We were introduced through Sam after you were collected into her circle of friends, or you are one of the multitude of people, as she put, in my computer. That's you guys. From around the world that I heard stories about. Hi, y'all. I can't remember a time when Sam wasn't in my life, having known her for more than 30 years and sharing a household with her and a multitude of cats, for many of them. We first met through a mutual friend at a very loud Milwaukee dance club where we spent hours introducing ourselves, and yet somehow having known each other for forever. Our friendship was solidified a few days later when I went to her house to watch Twin Peaks, and her cat Meg jumped up on my lap. The ultimate seal of approval from her childhood cat. Sam had the unique ability to connect people from all walks of life, bring them into her orbit, and then make sure we all knew each other. When she realized that two friends had an interest in common, she made sure that you were introduced. These are friendships that for me are forever friendships that will span the test of time and distance. We are all now connected. But Sam wasn't just a roomie. She was my sister in a chosen family, a confidant, and the other half of the Sin and Sam show. Get us going, and we were basically a sketch comedy performance with two hosts, questionable jokes, even more questionable puns, and inside references that sometimes only we understood. Sticky? But most importantly, it was filled with laughter and silliness and an unbreakable bond. It felt like home whenever we were together. And Sam wasn't just funny. She had a sharp sense of humor, a way of finding ridiculousness in every day. She was also the queen of memes and gifs. No matter the situation, she could find the perfect image to express exactly how you were feeling. Silly cat clips, a Hamilton reference, or that epically long thread of Idris Elba photos. For years, even though we lived in the same house, we would still spend the day in chat, sharing what was going on with work or the world. Her ability to connect people, both in person and virtually, was truly remarkable. Even when miles apart, she had a knack for making you feel like you were right next to her, sharing a laugh or a shoulder to cry on. Since I invoked Hamilton, we're going to do a little riff. I remember when I shared the soundtrack with Sam, she's always been a huge fan of musicals, but she wasn't quite sure if that was something that she was going to enjoy with the same enthusiasm that I did. But as we all know, she became probably more obsessed with it than me. And true to Sam's character, she sought out backstories or deep cuts from the Broadway stars that perform sometimes out in the street outside of the theater. And we went to go see that musical 5 times. But we only paid for it once. I took her for her birthday after years of singing loudly throughout the house. And then we usually, every day after that, we would try and get tickets through the Hamilton lottery, where you sign up every day and you might win tickets, but you don't know where they're going to be. And sometimes they were pretty good seats. And by the last time we went, we were basically 3rd row. Great seats. Way over to the left. I think we could see half of the stage, but it didn't matter because it was, we just loved it. Just absolutely loved the show. Food was definitely a love language for Sam. Whether it was enjoying a meal at a new restaurant, baking a loaf of fresh bread, or cooking her rendition of Julia Child's chicken and mushroom recipe, which was legendary. I saw more than one guest at our table not only finish their plate, but lick it clean, literally lick it clean. It was one of her favorite dishes to make, and I can still hear her singing, "Come and get your love, come and get your love," from the kitchen as it was being served. But it wasn't just about the food. It was the way she poured her soul into every dish, creating a warm and comforting space for those invited into our home. Sam's absence leaves a gaping hole in our lives, but the memories we shared, the laughter that filled the rooms, and the love she so generously gave will stay with us forever. She taught me the importance of living a life to the fullest, on your own terms, like eating ice cream for dinner, or reading a book at the dinner table, of embracing new experiences and cultures, and cherishing the friendships we forge along the way. As we say goodbye today, let's remember her spirit, her kindness, and the joy she brought into this world. Let her memory be a blessing, reminding us to live with the same passion and zest for life that she embodied. Thanks.
I cry at phone company commercials, so there is zero chance I'm not crying here, if that makes sense. Hello, everyone. Hey. Hello, people in Sam's computer. So Sam used to start every phone conversation in the middle. Even if we hadn't talked in months, it would just feel like maybe one of us had stepped away to throw a little laundry in the dryer or something. So I'd answer the phone, and she'd just start, "So, if you're celibate in Luther, please tell me you've seen it or we can't be friends anymore." And so today I start at some random point in the middle of our 35 years of friendship, because I just don't know where to begin. So I'm going to share a few stories and a few thoughts, and if they trigger a memory for you, as Chris said earlier, I hope you'll come up and share as well. Because we're all part of Sam's community, her chosen family. And we all know that Sam was really absolutely devoted to that chosen family. For her, friendship and love and the people she chose to put in her life was so much more than a genetic connection. That is not to say she didn't value family, it's just that it was so important to her that she made it bigger. Because it wasn't an accident of birth, it was something you choose. It was a choice made with love, defined by mutual respect and care. And so if you were a friend to Sam, it was every bit as important to her as if you were a brother or a sister or an aunt or an uncle or a dad. You were her family too. And so here's another phone call I got from Sam about 24 years ago, give or take. "So I noticed Chris's car is in front of your apartment building this morning. Spill, tell me everything." And so some might remember Chris's orange and Bondo colored MGB. So it was pretty distinctive, and there was no dodging the fact that his car was in fact still in front of my apartment building. And the thing that was so fun about that is that no one was happier to see our love story come to life than Sam. She wanted her family and her friends to be happy, and she would nudge things in any direction she could to make that happen if she thought she found a way to do that. Whether, like Sin said, nudging people up that she thought, she's like, "Oh, you need to know this person, so you're going to know this person." I even remember when Dave Lieberman Facebook friended me, it was with the message, "Sam tells me I'm supposed to get to know you." And she's usually right about these things, so hi. And of course she was right about that. And her family was far-reaching. You might have been a part of a Lost Souls Thanksgiving that she used to do for folks who didn't have a place to be on Thanksgiving Day. She opened her home and made a bleak ton of food and made sure that people felt cared for and loved. You might know her through LiveJournal or Chicklet or any of the other online places she found her little niches in. You might have known her from work or lived near her in Milwaukee or Seattle or Chicago. And I can tell you, having walked around Chicago with her, there is no one who could make neighbors or colleagues or random acquaintances at coffee shops into friends more quickly than Sam, and more thoroughly than Sam. And how she remembered everybody and knew everybody's dog's name and everything is completely beyond me, but she did, because that was important to her. She also adored sharing her knowledge and her passions. If she loved something, she wanted you to love it too. And so whether that was cats, or knitting, or baking, or Hamilton, or Queen, or David Lynch, or Nina Simone, or Only Murders in the Building, she loved it, she wanted to share it, and she wanted to bring you into that circle. I learned to knit from Sam. I learned to make no-knead bread from Sam. And when we actually watched Hamilton together via Disney Plus, Hamilton is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but Sam's joy in sharing it was better. And when I think back, there's a lot of these cultural touchstones that originated with Sam. Princess Bride, which I can pretty much quote from front to back. Twin Peaks, Tom Waits, Joe Jackson. I can't even, count all of those things. Madeline Kahn saying, "Flame shooting up the side of my face." All of those things, come from Sam and her love of all kinds of cultural things. And another story just sort of related to that. There was one weekend many, many years ago that Sam and I were walking to Blockbuster to go rent a movie. Yes, that's how long ago it was. Blockbuster still existed. And we're making the turn on a Brady. We see a tow truck go by, and it's got her old Buick on the back. And Sam and I was like, "Isn't that your?" And she's like, "Damn it, some of my tapes are still in that thing." Because she didn't care about the car, she cared about the music that she left in the car that was now being impounded. But those things that were her passions, and back then, if you got a mixtape from Sam, you were definitely family, for sure. That's another love language of hers back in the day when mixtapes were a thing. And I still have some of her mixtapes. I have no means of playing them, but I have them. And you all already know how astoundingly smart Sam was. She was well-read, she was self-taught, and she was willing and in fact determined to question everything, including herself. At different points in her life, before I knew her, she was a Joe's daughter for a while, and she was a practicing witch for many years, and then she became what she termed devout atheist. And I have no doubt that she was willing to question any one of those things at any point in time. There were no assumed or static or sacred cow things for Sam. She just kept digging into things that interested her or raised questions for her. And that's one of the reasons she was just so damn smart, is she kept learning all the time, kept investigating, kept questioning. The things that she did not question, her love for awesome dad, there was never ever a question of that. From the first moment that I met your cat Sam, who tried to let me into your house when you guys weren't home. And much like Meg with Zinn, Sam, his wanting me to be in the house was, I think, the seal of approval when Sam and I met. If the cat liked you, then you had to be okay, Her love for Jill, Pocket Doctor, Lady Mother, and all of us, her dearest friends, her chosen family. That was not something she questioned ever, doubted ever. brings me to, thoughts of the afterlife, if you will. And I don't think Sam believed in a heaven or hell or a bridge to the great beyond or any of that. But if heaven does exist, I'm certain she's already there, and she's already best friends with Freddie Mercury. You just know that's true. And if in the course of that, she's probably also made some connections in hell so that she can get somebody to throw some extra coal underneath certain people that we assume are there. Because if anybody could navigate all of those spaces, it would be Sam, right? And be in charge of them. But I can tell you that what I know to be true is that we are Sam's great beyond. Our notes, our memories, our thoughts, from the first moment that I met Sam in French class and knew I was way far behind because she could already speak French and I didn't know what anybody was saying. The Great Beyond is a road trip we took to Wichita. It's in Esoteria. It's in Cafe Voltaire, which sadly doesn't exist anymore. It's at the Mad Planet. It's in photo shoots by Lake Michigan. The Great Beyond is in a truly terrible banana cheesecake I made for her one birthday that I never heard the end of. It's in discussions we had about everything from Jane Austen and how terribly they got the costumes wrong in movie adaptations, to the novels of Shirley Jackson, to the best cat toys. All of those things are the Great Beyond. That's the afterlife we have for Sam. And there's another classic Sam thing is that when my mom died, because we had always said the joke that my mom was always right, and there isn't really any evidence to show that that's not true, so. But we had determined that, it was, she and I would share the birthright of being nearly always right, because I couldn't be expected to try and be nearly always right by myself, that wasn't okay. But if anyone could help a woman be nearly always right, that would be Sam. So whatever you believe, whatever religion you hold or don't, do me a favor. Remember one thing that brings Sam very vividly to your mind. Whether it's a song or a recipe, Princess Bride, Hamilton. For me, these last few months, I have heard respect from Aretha Franklin periodically, just in random places, at a coffee shop, out of somebody's apartment window, when I'm walking at lunch. And that song puts me in that as yet to be impounded Buick, driving down the lakefront, singing loudly and out of tune. And now we're going nowhere, we're everywhere, and that's what I will hold dear, and I hope each of you have something similar that you can hold dear. Because that's how Sam lives on. Because we are her chosen family, and she is ours.
Okay, well, right now, we're marking time because no one's come up and signed up. So when we have to go around and start twisting arms or something like that. I've got here a paragraph from a dear friend of ours. Many of you probably who here knows Paul Scott August? See some hands. Hey, if you get a chance to get on his Facebook page, he has got a train set up based on Osseo, Wisconsin that is absolutely phenomenal. It's out of this world. If you're into HO trains, I used to work in a hobby shop, so I kind of geek out on that stuff. But he dear friend of Sam, And he sent this, and this kind of got reminding me too when I came out. I looked around, checking for name tags, but I also noticed that there's quite a few people here that have some like cat hair on their jackets and stuff like that. And one of the things Kate and I were discussing was whether we should bring a lint roller, but we decided against that. But Paul's the Epistle of Paul actually has a very interesting addition to that connotation, that observation. And from Paul, it says, "Oh, I thought of one that was typical Sam. When I came back to Milwaukee for grad school, she thought I needed a cat, even though I was allergic. Her cat had kittens. She said having one would help me get over the allergy. So even though I said no, she invited me over to her apartment on Cambridge. And after I sat down on the couch, she set a black and white kitten on my lap. Told me it was mine now, and she had named it Serenity. I had that cat for many years." We wanted to share that with you today. Kari actually has one from another person. I can't remember who you got it with, but she's going to come up and read that for us here. But if there's anything you'd like to say, any remembrance that you have about Sam, please let me know. And it doesn't have to be. We're all up here shaking, scared. Don't. Come on. So, but Kari, you want to come up and join us here? Thanks.
I'm Kari, also known as Pescana or Fish Dreamer to the internet people. And I have a story sent in by Paul Taylor, who is Sam called the nicest person on the interwebs. He lives in England, and we met. Actually, I was with him and her on the occasion that he wrote about. So, I will read that first. Like so many people, I shared a life online with Sam for years, on Chicklet, most of all on LiveJournal, and later elsewhere too. We must all have so many dear memories from those times. The shared tales of our everyday lives and the people that inhabited them, the campaigns of mutual support, I remember those, and the glimpses behind the curtain in our messages and emails. Everyday lives, but the tales were never ordinary. We were scattered far and wide, making every story a window into a different world. But Sam went farther and wider than most of us, and farthest of all to Vietnam. Her stories were populated by recurring characters like her awesome dad and the pocket doctor. Sorry, I have to pull my nose. It's running. Awesome dad and the pocket doctor, the little prince, who I don't remember who that was, or the former boss of me, with a changing population of co-workers as she moved through different roles. But wherever she was, whatever she was doing, editing, teaching, working in retail, or working in an office, Sam's skills and her intelligence would make their mark, as they did in her writing and conversation too. She knew so much about so many things, and she always wanted to know more. But for all of those memories, my dearest is of meeting Sam in person as part of an extraordinary gathering in London in November 2008. It was for the occasion of our friend Lizzie's wedding, but it was also a chance for people who knew each other only from that online world to come together in person, celebrating both the wedding and everything we had shared over time. I sat next to Sam when we all met for afternoon tea in a Mayfair hotel. That was a memorable occasion. Thanks, Paul. We spent hours talking and feasting on tea, sandwiches, and chocolate scones before we retired for drinks and yet more talk late into the evening. The next day, we were off to another hotel for the wedding itself, and in the days after that, we toured London, taking in brunch, bookshops, yarn shops, and all the sights and sounds we could manage. And after all that, Sam traveled on to Scotland to see yet more people and places. She was as wonderful in person as she was online, as knowledgeable and as funny, and I only wish it had gone on longer, with chance to spend even more time. But it was a gloriously happy weekend for Sam as it was for me, and the memory stays with me now. Like the Chicklet community we were part of, Sam was smart, witty, and literate as hell, and I'm proud to have been one of the people in her computer. It's from Paul. I was one of those online people. I met Sam online first, and then through Chicklet, and it turned out we both lived in Seattle, so we became in-person friends. The story I was going to tell, just one, because I've known her since '99, I think, a while. But it was that particular weekend in London, because I was there too. At that time, I was still living in Seattle, but I was looking to move elsewhere. And that trip was when I decided to move to Chicago to become part of the House of Cats and Klutzy Women. I was the third member after Sam and Sid. Story, Sam and I were wandering around London. Now, she had never been there before, but she had read so much historical literature that she knew where we were all the time. She's like, oh, this is that street that goes to this street and the thing's over there. I had been to London multiple times before, but not this part of London, and I had never knew where I was. Wandering around London with someone who didn't like escalators was really fun, taking the tube. She always found the stairs though, she always did. But the best part of that trip, aside from all the internet people and that part of it, for the two of us, wandering around the banks of the Thames, which are not actually banks, it's just like a street, coming around a corner to see Shakespeare's Globe. Now, I was also a lit major, so this was a big deal for me. And the two of us, it was instant clutching. We didn't faint, it wasn't open, we couldn't tour it, but we did go into the bookshop and buy souvenirs, which I still have, most of mine, and I think she did too. Yeah, so that's my memory of Sam that I wanted to share, because she was a huge part of my life for a very long time, and I miss her a lot. Oh, and I think Maya would like to go next. That's all right, Chris? Thank you.
Hey everyone. My name is Maya. I'm Sam's half-sister, and I'm just going to take my time. But yeah, I have a story to share from a person who lived in Sam's computer. But before I do that, I just want to say a few words just about me and Sam. I was 10 years old when I met Sam. We have the same biological father, but I didn't know that she existed until I was 10 years old. She looked up our mutual parent and came out to visit us. And I remember being a kid and being told, you know, this whole person exists and she's your sister, and here she is now. And I just thought that she was really cool. I was 10, she introduced me to a lot of things I didn't know existed. One of the first things we did together on that visit was we baked a loaf of bread together. Like, I thought bread came from the store. And she's like, oh no, we're gonna fix that. And so that's one of the first things we did. She really showed an interest in getting to know me. And at the time, I mean, this was late 80s, early 90s, I was very into MC Hammer and CNC Music Factory. She's like, oh no. So she promptly made me a mixtape and sent it my way. I got a whole education in Queen, and on that trip she brought the U2 Joshua Tree album, and I was like, oh, music can be like better. I didn't know that. And she also, for my 11th birthday, sent me a copy of The Princess Bride. And I remember the inscription she wrote, and it was, never doubt that true magic exists in this world. It's the only thing we live for. And it just changed my worldview. And I still have that book on my shelf. I read it probably 100 times. Okay, we're just gonna breathe for a minute. But yeah, over the years we were in touch and out of touch. And she's just, yeah, she's a cool big sister. And I'm so happy that I got to know her over the time that I did. So, just wanted to share that. I'm gonna like gather myself, and I have a story to share from somebody who lived in Sam's computer. Okay, I'm going to read a story from Dave Lieberman. He wrote, I met Sam through LiveJournal many years ago. But the first time we met in person, she happened to be in New York on her way back from her stint in Vietnam. And I happened to be in New York on business. We agreed to meet up, and we traipsed all over the city, looking at stuff until our feet hurt, and it started raining. One of the things she wanted to try was the famous frozen hot chocolate at Serendipity 3 on the Upper East Side. There's no subway anywhere near it, so I decided we needed a taxi. Trying to hail a taxi in New York in the rain is, as you know, or you might know, is impossible. So we walked in the rain for half an hour trying to find one. We finally arrived at a ridiculously fancy hotel on 5th Avenue, and Sam said she had to go sit in the lobby. So the two of us went in and sat down. After we had rested a bit, they were quite gracious about two bedraggled, obvious non-guests taking refuge. And after the downpour had subsided, I went to the doorman and asked if he could hail us a cab to the restaurant. You're only 4 blocks from it, the doorman said. Just walk instead of spending $10 on a cab. Sam just looked at me and started to laugh and laugh. And then we went and had our frozen hot chocolate, and, like a miracle, a cab was available as soon as we left.
That would be okay. Okay, sorry. Sign up right there.
I'm Sue Lusky, and I have worked with Sam at Thai/Strive/ whatever we're calling it this week. And I've known her, oh gosh, I don't even remember. I do remember first meeting her as one of our freelancers, and she definitely caught me because she always ended every email with a joke, and a funny joke. I mean, she was very, very funny, and we eventually hired her, and I'm so glad that we did. And she's the one who was in charge of our copy editors and our freelancers. And when I had to share the news of her passing with that team, I got a lot of responses. And I wanted to share a few of them with you because it kind of, as you've been speaking, it reinforces everything that everyone has been saying about Sam. So these were from, I guess, the people in her computer too. But one of them said, I'm so sorry to hear this. I've worked with Sam on and off for years. She was truly a character. You'll notice that word shows up a couple times here. And she was so committed to always making freelancers feel included and part of a team. I've rarely worked with someone so genuinely interested in the person on the other end of the email. Another person just said, Sam was one of the most lively people that I ever knew. And this one really got me. One thing I greatly admired about Sam was her strong commitment to team building. Her focus on collaborating with compassion, her ability to recognize and foster individuals' strengths, her generous way of giving feedback that encouraged growth and learning, and her we're in this together attitude. And this one was from a gal who has worked very closely with her as of late. She said, Sam was very special indeed, a truly beautiful human. She and I shared a birth year and a birth sign, finished each other's sentence from day one. I will miss her. And aside, when Anne found out that a few of us were getting together to celebrate Sam this past November, she said, and yes, she would love that you would gather to celebrate, and she would want to be in on all of the Sam stories as well. She too had so many great ones to share. Rest easy, dear friend. And another one I'm so sorry to hear. She was a character. I worked with her pretty closely on the POBL project and remember well her sense of humor and her love for Delia. And another person said, I'm so sorry for this loss. Sam was one of a kind in the best way. And she truly was. And I hear the word random coming up in some of the things people are saying, and that's one thing I'm really going to miss, is just the random thoughts that would come my way, whatever, on a chat. She'd just pop something over to me, and I would start laughing. I would go, I don't have time for this, or all of these things that we're supposed to be doing while we're working, but she would always have something for me. A dog video. I'm going to miss those dog videos. So for those of you who have my email, feel free to send me some dog videos. Songs, she did have things at the tip of her, she just had things immediately for you. Aretha Franklin stories and just songs to cheer you up when you needed it the most. And sometimes she'd just say something that was so funny. And I wrote down a couple of my favorite Samisms, so I'll leave you with those. And this one just, sweet tap dancing Jehoshaphat on roller skates on the ice rink in Rockefeller Plaza, Sue. I don't even really know. It was an exclamation of some sort. And then this one I heard a lot, and my husband now says it to me because he remembers Sam saying, sweet, fancy Moses in a muffin tin, Sue. What were they thinking? Usually about a client or something outrageous. And there was one client that her name was Harmony. And Sam, this was after we got feedback of some sort, and we were both like, well, that was kind of obnoxious. And Sam said, Sue, I was a polite penguin to Harmony. Polite penguin, polite penguin. So I appreciated when she could be a polite penguin because sometimes our jobs required that. I also appreciated just her sense of humor and her love because she was never afraid to express her love for you and share her love. So I'm going to miss her very much. Thank you.
What, there's no more stories? If anyone wants to feel free to step up. Rick, did you want to say some more?
I have, Chris, there's one left from the people in the computer.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
Me again, hi. So this is a story from Kristen Lee Ziegler, who I was roommates with for many years before I moved to Seattle. And I think most of us know, if you spent any time in the 90s at Dance Globes, she was a photographer, still is, amazing photographer, and a really good roommate and friend. So hope you're out there, Kristen. I miss you. Okay, so the story, that's literally what it says. I have the story I have is about the year we had Sam helping plan Jeff's birthday surprise party. Jeff is her husband. And Jeff helping plan Sam's surprise birthday party. They had no idea. Everyone involved parked away from the flat on Humboldt. Sam thought that she was keeping Jeff away from the house. He thought the same. But when it came time to say surprise, they both were surprised and laughing at the fact that we got him. I wish I remembered more details. Just remembering the laughing, the music, the smell of the grill, the cooking of the shellfish. That is it. I think that might be, there's some photos. I think that might be that party.
It might be.
Because it's Humboldt.
Yeah.
And we can probably show you which ones they are, but, so that's Kristen. Anyone else? Do you have one more, Kate?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's right like that. All the Kristen does were
Okay.
those are the ones we had.
All right.
You want to say something?
Wait, we got one more.
I wasn't going to do this. I was very impressionable when I met Sam and Sin. I was coming out of a really bad relationship, and I love so whoever coined the term chosen sister, because she truly was. And I remember going over to our house with Sin and Steve Allen, and we were just talking and having fun, and I loosely mentioned that I wanted to learn tarot cards, and she just brought out all her tarot cards, and she's like, I have this book for you, and all this other, and she just was so passionate about it. And I became passionate about it because I truly never really had anything to believe in. And through that, I felt earthy, like I was connected to something. And I always felt like anytime a thunderstorm would roll through, I felt her. She just had that power, and she introduced me to, I don't know if it was Sin, but clove cigarettes and dancing in her little black boots at Mad Planet, and just having the best time of her life. And her laugh is one of the biggest things that I remember about her, because when the four of us, Kristen, and Sin and Sam and I would get together, that's all we did was laugh. And I don't remember if she was there for the boyfriend bonfire. She was, yes. So we had pictures of boyfriends and put them into a really awful orange ashtray. And the thing exploded, and all we could do was laugh. So we did was laugh, and I just remember that. So many fond memories growing up that someone has. She was so impactful, and so I keep hearing about how if she wanted you to learn about something, she gave it her all, and I learned so much, and I felt like I was part of a sisterhood. So Sam, I love you so much, and I love my sisters, and I will forever miss you.
I suppose. And no one else? I know we've got, there's some water and coffee back there. We can all sit and chat a while. Were you going to say something, Chuck?
I can say a couple things.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great. Thank you.
What's that?
I think it'd be great.
Do we need to adjust that?
Pull it down a bit. Hopefully,
Thanks.
I can
Well, I appreciate everybody that has come out today to help remember Sam. We're all going to miss her. And I'm so happy to have her in my life, in our lives. She said the best thing her mother ever did for her was to marry me. That was such a compliment. And then for her to bestow upon me the name of Awesome Dad was even better. And I just so grateful she was in my life and all of your lives. And there's not much else I can say. And again, I appreciate everybody coming out. I just so great that she had such a wide family, and the family that's on the other side of that camera that probably very few of you even have met. She probably never met in person, but it's part of her family. So once again, I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate part of my family coming out. They barely knew Sam, but that's very nice that you come out. Two of Sam's cousins are here. They haven't seen her, had not seen her in ages, but they're here to show support, and I appreciate that too. Thank you.
Just wanted to let everybody know that we're doing a little gathering at Casablanca Restaurant on Brady after this. I believe our reservation's for 4 o'clock. I'm sure if you show up a little early and get a drink or whatever, that'll be fine too. But we'd love to gather there and enjoy some food and some memories and a couple of cocktails and, you know, like that. So hopefully you all know where Casablanca is. If not, you go right down Farwell, you turn down Brady, you go down Brady, and it's on the right. And the fact that I am giving directions is so if you get lost, you can blame me. That's, you know. So thank you for being here. I hope you will join us there. Anyone else have anything else they would like to share? Okay. Thank you.